So we're going to catch up with our budgie chicks, and here is Sunny. Now, she had 5 eggs, but in fact 3 were infertile. She probably just didn't mate enough times with the new boy before they got ready to have babies. But obviously we know that he's not sterile because we have babies. Now if I can just get Sunny to move. Come on Sunny, good girl. There we go, there's our 2 little ones. So what are they now? 5 days and 3 days, I think. You can see they're starting to get a tiny bit of down on their backs. They've both been well fed, so they're taking good care of them. And they're looking really good. And you can see that older one is actually really strong because it's pushing the other one across. Is Sunny going to come back? Yes, here she is. She's going to come back, keep them warm. Push them underneath her. She's such a good mum. So just the 2 this time, but as I say, I'm perfectly happy with that. It means that she's not going to be really stressed trying to feed them. And it'll probably mean that the next time they'll have, their next clutch after this, they'll have a few more. But we'll leave her to keep them warm and to feed them, and we'll check on them again next week, and you will see the growth. Well, this just goes to show how confused our plants are by the weather. We had a cold snap over here and then it got really, really mild again. And as you can see here, this is Iris reticulata, which flowers in February. It seems to have got rather confused about when it's supposed to be flowering or what season it is. So obviously, actually, it thinks it's February. There's another one there. These tips are very much like daffodils in that when it does get really cold again, they'll just stop growing. So it's not a problem that they're coming through, then I don't have to worry about them becoming frosted off or anything. But they may be just really, really early this year. We are supposed to get a really cold snap this coming week. It's supposed to get down to freezing, finally. But we shall see. But obviously Iris reticulata thinks it's 2019 already and is starting to come up, so it remains to be seen whether they'll keep growing and potentially flower in January, or they'll hold off for a little bit longer. It's a beautiful day here, so the Silkies are coming out, and this is the reality of Silkies in winter. Their heads get quite soggy and they get quite white, and actually, as you can see on her back foot there, look, she has a little nodule of mud. Now that's due to the feathering on the feet, so I will have to catch her in a minute, take her indoors and just wash off her feet. So with feathered feety birds, they are very hardy in terms of the cold, but because they've got those feathers on their feet, they do tend to pick up little bits of mud and poop and stuff on there, and because it's moist it sticks, and then over the weeks it gets bigger and bigger and bigger till it becomes a big lump. So it's well worthwhile keeping your silkies outside during the winter, but just make sure they have a really nice dry bedding area, and check their feet regularly because they will get these little places on them. And these are actually the marshmallow silkies, but it seems that as they age they lose some of the marshmallow effect. So these are the daughters, so next year we'll be breeding these and getting eggs from these girls and seeing how they develop in terms of the coloration. I just love a silky though for their plain white and their bright blue ear patch. It's so attractive, I love it. So that's today. Just basically I'm pottering in around the garden, having a clean. I'm going to clean these silkies' feet and let them have a wander. Another quick update on the Christmas cacti, and look at all of these seed pods. I'm actually amazed how many seed pods are developing. So normally if it wasn't a seed pod it would just drop off, the flowers would just drop off, but I've got multiple ones. This is the first flower that I actually pollinated, and you can see there how big that one is. And then we just have loads more seed pods developing, which is a good thing, because if you're going to try and develop your own hybrid, your own cross, to get a brand new flower colour, flower shape, etc., the majority of the seeds that are going to come out are going to just make bog standard Christmas cacti, or with anything they're going to make a bog standard plant like the parent, because what you're actually trying to find is that tiny percentage that mutate and create a new mutation, can't say that word, which makes then the change in the leaf colour or the change in the flower, etc. So hopefully with all of these seed pods to hand, I'll have loads and loads of seeds, can grow them all on, and then it's a long game, so in a couple of years they will then flower for the first time, and I'll be able to see if I've got any exciting new hybrids. So this is a very long project, but I'm excited to see where it goes. It's almost winter, so there's not a lot growing in terms of seedlings on the homestead, but these are the seeds that I sowed earlier in the year. Is it about September, October time? So we have the hollyhocks in here. This must have been in the soil already. I think it's like a poppy thing. I will pull it up, but you've got quite a few hollyhocks here. The Aquilegia are just starting to come up. Just starting. These are the Nicotiana, and then we have the snapdragons that I actually started on. And I just kind of wanted to show you because, as I said before, these half-hardy annuals and biennials, when you sow them late, they do nothing. So they will germinate and they will grow very, very slowly. But the first ones to germinate were the hollyhocks, and you can see that literally we've just got a leaf here, a big leaf here, and then nothing really is growing. So they just sit there quite happily through the winter. You do obviously still need to water them, otherwise they will wilt and die, and you do need to protect them from pests if they're in a warmer place. So obviously I have my whitefly in here, so I'm still protecting these from whitefly. But that's a little update on these four. But it does mean as soon as the warm spring weather hits, these will go mental, and then I can prick them all out and I'll have loads of babies really early to go in the year, which is always something very good to look forward to. I'm doing a little bit of a clear up today. As I've said before, there are tons of leaves, and though I tend to take the leaves off the path, I leave them on the beds just to sort of rot down. It drives me nuts, but it is good for the soil and good for wildlife, but it just looks awful. But when you've got trays like this, it's a good idea just to clear them out, because all sorts of bugs and things can be hiding underneath, which is what really you want. These are some lovely foxgloves. You might remember actually they were growing, or they'd self-seeded into the hosta. So I dug out the hosta and took all of these babies out, and actually they've done great. You can see how many there are. So I thought there were only 3 or 4 just initially looking, but you can see actually there's tons. And because they were sown and germinated this year, it means that next year they should flower. But if we pick them up, and there we go, there's a culprit, you can see that there's slugs. So it's a good idea to take them all out occasionally and just clean out the tray that they're in. Also look at the bottoms, make sure there's nothing underneath. The other good interesting thing about slugs is not all of them are bad. So this is a leopard slug, and I have tons of them in my garden, and they eat other slugs. So don't always kill every slug you see, because they're not always bad. But yeah, so today I'm kind of just going through my pots, washing them out, checking the bottoms, and then I'll pop them all back in together. But I'm really happy with these foxgloves. They look fab. Really nice condition and healthy little plants. So most of my chickens have now gone through their molt. So if you saw last week's vlog, it was about how I'm not getting many eggs. And that's mostly because it's the winter. This ex-battery hen is going through quite a heavy molt, as you can see. On her head she's got those spikes, but everybody else is pretty much back to normal. Because it's the winter, the poor Polands have rather wet crests, which I find quite amusing. And then there's that beautiful grey hen over there. I don't even know what her cross is. I think she's a Warren Cross Moran, perhaps. Thanks, Owlet, for obliterating. There she is. She's absolutely lovely. Let's follow her around. So she's one of my favourite hens at the moment. Really gorgeous hen. Guineas. being good as gold. Not flying away as yet. So I'm just enjoying a quiet day, not doing a lot, but just spending time with the birds, cleaning them out, watching them, making sure everybody's in good health. These two sisters down here are having a nice dust bath, so that is today.